Good morning, everybody. How are you guys doing? So, we're continuing with chapter 3 of Think and Grow Rich. I'm telling you guys, it's a life changing book. And hopefully, these little summaries, these little reviews are helping out. If you guys want to get rich, because I know I want to get rich, join me and let's get rich together, guys. Let's do it. You know, the world may be collapsing or we're on the brink of an economic collapse, but these are the best times to make wealth. There's always money to be made during bad times and during good times, but especially during the bad times. That's the best time. Especially you feel so satisfied, you feel more accomplished. All right, if you guys haven't subbed yet, please sub. Um, Smash that like button and share. Keep sharing. This is a new channel, guys, so I really need the help. If you guys can share, I would really appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, guys. Let's start with the Correndo show doing a review. So let's get this started. So chapter 3, it's faith. Napoleon Hill he starts by saying faith is the starting point for the accumulation of all riches. Faith is the basis of all miracles, all mysteries that can be ruled by science. Faith is the antidote for failure. And man, how refreshing is that, huh? Uh, you guys have faith in yourself. Trust me, you will unlock anything. Whatever you want, with a little bit of faith, with a good plan, determination, you can accomplish anything. I really mean it. Um, you know, I'm at the beginning phase. I just paid off all my debt, literally. I think it was like 8,300. I'll verify later, but still, yeah. If you believe in yourself, if you feel you can, move up, level up, you will do it. You just gotta believe. And if you can't believe in yourself, for some people, it might be God, religion, just I think it's really good thing to have faith. Like I said, if not in yourself, you should always have faith in yourself. But if you don't, for whatever reason, have faith in someone else. When you have faith in that person, and you want to do good for that person, you will eventually end up doing good for yourself. But like I said, for me, it's more important to have faith in yourself. If not possible, there's that option. Um, yes, I so Mr. Hill, Mr. Napoleon Hill, he says something great. He says that we have certain beliefs that make us believe who we are. Some of us we believe we have bad luck or bad timing, or we always say, "Oh, of course it would happen to me," right? There's a bunch of those, and even some people go as far as to say, "Man, I'm cursed. My family's cursed." Um, it's not that the family is cursed; it's that we have all these thoughts, all these ways that are passed down from generation to generation. So that's why it may seem like a curse. It's just the people we're surrounded by, which our family is the ones who raises us. That has a huge impact on us. So we are eventually gonna be like our family unless you're willing to change that. Um, yeah. So just don't. You gotta change your mentality. There's that. I remember when that Drake song came out with YOLO. There's this mentality among the youth. You only live once. And if you have that mentality, you're always gonna have a short lifespan, man. You're gonna be, spirit straightforward for towards danger. You're like, hey, man, my life's gonna end, so let's just do this. Let's do something dangerous. I mean, I don't expect to live long, right? But on the other hand, if you want to live long, you're gonna try your best to avoid, dangers or avoid unnecessary situations. Perhaps avoiding a bar fight. Little things like that, man. They have huge impacts. Um, like I said, if you're thinking long term, like if you're thinking you want to live long, you're gonna exercise and you're gonna change your diet, which I am working on. I've always had a bad habit, but yeah, I am definitely changing that. So there's gonna be a transformation with this as well. And in this chapter, Napoleon Hill, he says something interesting. He says that most criminals, when they commit their first act of crime, they have a little regret or remorse. Uh, it's only after committing multiple crimes that you know it starts to become normal. They just feel like, well, this is who I am. It's not that they're criminals. It's just that the repetition of these behaviors is starting to leak into their subconscious. So yeah, man, everybody can change. Anyone. I really do mean that. You just gotta be really committed, wanting to change, and set habits. Obviously, if you don't want to be a criminal, you stop. You there's no other way, man. You just gotta maybe reduce the amount of crimes or something that you do. But yeah, anybody can change. Even myself. I think I'm the one of the best examples. I used to lie a lot when I was younger. For some reason, I was, you know, habitual liar. I was really, you know, young, dumb, stupid. Wanted to be someone who I wasn't. I mean, I think a lot of people can relate with that, right? I wanted to be liked, fit in, and even years after when I catch up with friends, and they're like, "Hey, man, remember this?" And then I'll be like, "Yeah, hey, I remember." And then I'll catch myself like, "Wait, that's not true. I made that up. That's a lie." You know. But I lied so much. I lied so much to myself that I actually ended up believing it. You know. I don't know if any of you guys can relate with that, but like I said, you keep putting these thoughts in your head. You keep reminding yourself. You keep, you know, like this is what Napoleon Hill is getting at. If you tell yourself you're rich, you keep lying to yourself you're rich. Those habits, that mindset will implant itself, and eventually you will become rich. And you're like, oh, you at first you may have been lying to yourself, but it ended up becoming the truth. Every person is who they are because of the thoughts they put in their head. Uh, this is why it's so important. Uh, in the previous chapter, we talked about writing a statement, and you need to read it out loud your statement because of auto suggestions. Remember, I used to be shy. I lacked confidence, and that auto suggestion has really helped me come a long way. It can work both ways, though. It can work positive or negative, depending how you use it. Um, if you get sad, depressed, moping around, for some people that might lead to suicide. Um, Perhaps it may be a. No, I don't actually. I believe the story from Mr. Napoleon Hill that he describes. So he talks about a man named Joseph Grant. Apparently, he grabbed a large amount from the bank from his associates. He owned the bank with a couple of associates, and he took a large portion of money without consulting his associates. Well, he ended up gambling and drinking, and at the end of the night, he loses it all. But he couldn't face his associates. Like, he was so embarrassed. He went so far as to say, "The disgrace is killing me." And the following day, the doctor said that he died. His case was one of a mental suicide. Um, well, I'm assuming it doesn't really say, but I'm assuming he must have had a heart attack, and it was probably due to the high amount of stress. And once again, like, he hadn't even faced the consequences yet. Imagine that. He committed suicide. He put so much stress on his body that it caused, perhaps potentially a heart attack. I mean, if that doesn't tell you the power of autosuggestion, I mean, I don't know what else, man. You could even kill yourself just with your own thoughts. So, you know, just make sure to keep feeding yourself, positive things, positive energy. Surround yourself with positive people, obviously. And if you can't, just do what I do. I go online. I like to listen to YouTube, and I like to see, stories of inspiration, people growing, and that'll will help. That'll go along the way. As I was talking about earlier, I had my self confidence was a little low, and he talks about it. There's a way to fix that. He has a couple of steps. So first, I know I have the ability. So you have to write this down, all right? Because it's a formula for you guys to the self confidence formula. First, I know I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, continuous action towards attainment, and I here and now promise to render such actions. Second, I realize that dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in outward physical action and gradually transform themselves into physical reality. Therefore, I will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking of the person I intend to become, thereby creating in my mind a clear mental picture of that person. Third, I know through the principle of autosuggestion any desire that I personally hold in my mind will eventually seek expression through some practical means of attaining the object back of it. Therefore, I will devote 10 minutes daily to demanding of myself the development of self confidence. Fourth, I have clearly written down a description of my definite chief aim in life, and I will never stop trying until I shall have developed sufficient self confidence for its attainment. Fifth, I fully realize that no wealth or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. Therefore, I will engage in no transaction which does not benefit all whom it affects. I will succeed by attracting to myself the forces I wish to use and the cooperation of other people. I will induce others to serve me because of my willingness to serve others. I will eliminate hatred, envy, jealousy, selfishness, and cynicism by developing love for all humanity because I know that a negative attitude towards others can never bring me success. I will cause others to believe in me because I will believe in them and in myself. I will sign my name to this formula, commit it to memory, and repeat it out loud once a day with full faith, and I will become self reliant and a successful person. Man, that just gets me pumped, man. That gets me hype. Um, yeah, please, guys, write this down. It's really important. And read it to yourself once a day. I mean, come on. Just how long is that gonna be? A couple minutes? Imagine just waking up in the morning after reading your own statement, and then after reading this. I mean, come on, guys. Let's do it. Um, Mr. Hill, he also talks about a poet, and it says a great poem. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win but think you can't, you certainly won't. If you think you'll lose, you will. If you think you're outclassed, you are. Success begins with a fellow's will, state of mind. The man who wins is the man who thinks he can. So going back to it, I think hopefully I hope all of you guys are starting to get the idea of this book. The master key of unleashing your potential and all your riches. Obviously, the money is not going to come overnight. You have to put in the work. You have to have your plan. But I guarantee you, if you follow your plan, if you follow all the steps, you will achieve it. And I know I will. It's just a matter of time, being patient, being persistent, being goal oriented, not giving up. Um, yeah, and you know who followed this was actually was Gandhi, who ended up having, at the time of his time, he had the most power. He had the most power of any man, and he had no money, he didn't have a home, he didn't have an army. I mean, eventually he did because he was able to convince so many people, and it's great because he did something that it's very hard to replicate. That even the military, they wish they could do this. They're really good at it, but not as great as Gandhi. You know, um, he was able to apply faith, and he was able to transplant that faith that he has for himself and for a greater world. He was able to transplant that faith onto others, so they were able to be one whole mind, and only faith can do that. They were able to act as a whole cell. Imagine that. I mean, look how divided we are today. But Gandhi was, able to gather like 200 million Indians and to move as a one. It's amazing. You wonder how immense wealth is created. Follow the story of Charles M. Schwab. So, right, you guys ready for it? I mean, that's what you guys are here for, right? To get rich. So first, the U.S. Steel Corporation was born in the mind of Charles Schwab. Second, he mixed faith with his idea. Third, he formulated a plan for the transformation of his idea into physical and financial reality. Fourth, he put his plan into action. Fifth, he applied and followed through on his plan with persistence and backed it with firm decision until it had been fully carried out. Sixth, he prepared the way of success by a burning desire for success. So, the story goes for Mr. Schwab. He prepared a banquet for roughly 80 people. You know, it had the Vanderbilts, the Steelmans, um, just the who's, all the richest people. Everybody who contributed, to the Industrial Revolution, the creation, the foundation of America, right? And when he got all these 80 people together, at the time, they weren't aware that they were gonna witness the greatest transformation of wealth, and they were so unaware of it that it's actually not even recorded in history. Mr. Schwab, he gave a great speech that nobody would ever forget, at least for those present. But it's a shame that it wasn't able to be recorded. That nobody else was there to, write it down word for word. But nonetheless, yeah, even J.P. Morgan, he he said he would only attend, briefly, as an act of kindness for Mr. Schwab, and so he ends up giving a speech, which is about he was first of all he was only given 15 to 20 minutes to talk to these people, and his speech was so great that he went on for 90 minutes, and even after those 90 minutes, they still stayed there and talked for hours over what Schwab just laid upon them. Uh, he laid a program for the Steel Corporation. So a lot of the people at the banquet, they were bitter rivals, and there was a huge amount of distrust between all of them. But somehow Schwab, he, with his charisma, with faith, he was able to convince them to eventually work together, and it really is amazing what he created. You know, as as much as bitter rivals they were with each other, all of them had one thing in common: they could not stand up to who at the time was the richest man in America, which was Andrew Carnegie, and he he ran pretty much all of the steel production. Nobody had a chance competing with him. I mean, even if they all worked together, it was just impossible. They all knew they had no chance against Carnegie, and even worse, Carnegie himself knew that they had no chance. Imagine that. Schwab was able to convince Morgan that a trust without Carnegie would be no trust at all. How many of us are willing, to willing? How many of us are willing to work with our enemies? Not too many, but Schwab, he had this idea, and he knew that they couldn't beat Andrew Carnegie, so they only knew that they had to have Mr. Carnegie on their side if they wanted to grow. Schwab believed that the price of steel would be cheaper, and the opportunities brought by reducing the price of steel, that's where they would make their money. And when they brought the price of steel, think about all the innovation, all of the things that were able to be created. When the cost of items, when they're cheap, it allows for innovation, for creativity. You know, we're able to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes, and since they're not costly, we're able to repeat it and refine it, and eventually get the end product. So, very ambitious of Mr. Schwab. Imagine telling Mr. Carnegie, "Hey, we're gonna reduce the price of steel." You can only imagine how that must have went. But you know, his gamble, you can call it a gamble, but his plan, it paid off. It paid dividends. The way he did that, he took 6 sheets of copper plate figures representing the new companies to Morgan. Morgan was convinced. However, it wasn't sure if Andrew Carnegie would sell. I mean, why would he sell? He's the richest man. So eventually, they're able to get a game of golf going, and you know, during this game, Morgan and Carnegie and Schwab, nothing is discussed about the transaction. Nothing's said about them wanting to purchase the steel from Mr. Carnegie. And eventually, after hours after playing, you know, Andrew Carnegie, the man they call the little boss, he sits down and writes on a piece of paper, hands it over to Schwab, and tells him, "This is my number. This is what I want." And it ends up going for, I believe it was roughly $400 million. And I mean, with inflation, we're talking billions, I mean, perhaps trillion. That's how big Mr. Carnegie was. Uh, so Schwab takes it back to Morgan and to with everybody else to discuss, and they say they agree to it. The greatest transformation of wealth, right there, right? And over time, you know, Mr. Carnegie, he says, "I wish I would have asked for $100 million more." And Schwab, jokingly, I mean, that with a serious, he meant it, but he said it jokingly. If you would have asked, I would have given it to you. So there you go. Once again, what you demand of life, what you ask of life, life will give you. So don't sell yourself short, guys. Uh, yeah, like I said, they bought it for 400 million, and they ended up making 600 million of profit. So in total, everything talking about $1 billion, which in 1900 was an insane amount. I think this story today, you can kind of see that resemblance with Tesla, and you see how much the Tesla stock has grown. Everybody didn't believe about electric vehicles. Even General Motors, they had their own electric vehicle, but they themselves they killed it. They had this golden nugget, and they just melted it away into little pieces, and it's crazy. But yeah, I mean Elon Musk, now he's one of the richest men in the world, and it's because he has faith in himself, guys. And when you see his interviews, he is convinced. He wants to go to Mars. Whatever goals he has a Neuralink. Whatever he wants to do, he will accomplish it. So, once again, guys, what dream big, and whatever you ask of life, you will receive it. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's review, and once again, subscribe if you haven't. Hit the like button. Really appreciate you guys, and look forward to hearing all of your success stories. Please give me some feedback if there's any way I can make this better, or if I can help. Also want to hear your stories. Alright guys, see you next time.